Welcome to Two Bitches in a Broom podcast, episode 25.
Woohoo!
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's going to just be like a standard opening every time of episode.
Really sure.
I'm not sure, but we're here. Okay, so thank you for joining us on this week's episode. We are going to dive into a hot topic of psychic and psychic anxiety
Yeah.
and how to understand it, control it, deal with it, all of the things with psychic anxiety. I
Mhm.
don't know why I have a hard time saying that word. Um, so, yeah, this is something that is really across the board, right? Like a lot of people, again, sound like a broken record maybe, but more and more individuals who are sensitive to energy are now becoming aware of being sensitive to energy.
Yeah.
Quite a few not on board with it, which is why I feel like the term is dubbed psychic anxiety and all
Yeah.
this stuff. And there's a lot of information out there, in the interwebs and social media of how to be, I feel like, too. Because one thing that I'm like staring at this topic and it just, I feel like there's so much misinformation of how to navigate, not understand and control, but understand and navigate who you are.
Yeah.
Um, because I feel like, I don't know, I don't like that word control in that way because it kind of goes against my brain and like flow.
Yeah.
Um, you know, psychic anxiety.
I think that, I want to say it was like an episode, in one of the earlier episodes, I don't know which one. In one of the
Hmm.
earlier episodes, I was talking about, when um I kind of accepted the fact that I was, and I had clarification from another individual who had said and dubbed me, "You are
Hmm.
sensitive." Okay.
Right, right,
And that was like my savior. I had a label. I am now sensitive.
right.
The
Somebody
reality,
confirmed it.
yeah, yeah. The reality is there is a spectrum of psychics, right? There are some
Hmm.
people who are really energetically sensitive, and there are psychics who aren't. And it doesn't mean better, worse, good, bad. It does,
Right.
but there is a spectrum of sensitivity. And I think it is that sensitivity that can become overwhelming, which then your body identifies as anxiety because you're feeling,
Hmm.
sensing things that your body says, this isn't mine. We don't like how this feels.
Hmm.
You're getting bombarded with information that, generally speaking, most newly developed people or awakened people don't realize it isn't theirs, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I think
It's
it only makes sense. It causes dis-ease within the body.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yes. Every time somebody talks about like a disease,
Mhm.
my mind always like, oh, are we diseased somewhere?
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
we holding stagnation? Are we not addressing certain things? Are we not, what are we resisting?
Yeah.
What are we going against in our flow? I think that's why I don't like the word really control in that, uh, because it just goes against flow if you are really in that. And I feel like too with a lot of people, especially those like are big feelers, coupled with your own personal things that you have going on in your own life that bombards it, like it creates this volcano, and then you have this blow up of all this emotion and energy that's flowing to you. And then the lines get fuzzy. You don't know what's yours, what's not, um, who you're picking up on around you. And I tell this to some people too. The one key thing with individuals also, when we talk about this subject, is when you interact with somebody and somebody's telling you their life stuff, are you automatically trying to solve their problem? Are
Yeah.
you automatically trying to fix their stuff?
Yep.
You know, what do you think that's doing energetically? You just went, gimme, 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 gimme. This is now mine. I take it, you know. Um, that doesn't help when you're trying to figure out your flow and decipher and stuff like that. And I feel like
Absolutely. That's what I
with
call overextending yourself, right?
overextending, it's
Yeah.
like all those tentacles just out. And, you know, again, that's where we go into that boundaries. Where's your foundation? What does that look like?
Mhm.
Um, and suffice it to say, then they're like, I don't really have any.
I don't have
So
any. Sorry about
I
that.
don't have any. No, because I want to help and I feel for them. Well, sure. You have a heart. We all feel for the plights of others, and being, you and I talked before, fucking being on this rock. There's so much. But when you start really owning it as your own, knowingly, unknowingly, that builds up. I feel like that's where a lot of this psychic anxiety stuff comes from. You're
Absolutely.
just taking in everybody else's shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think if there was one um one thing that I could give to somebody that is uh developing or awakened and they're like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? How can I recognize if it's me, if it's genuinely me, or
Mm-hmm.
if it's me picking up energy? And that is to know thy body. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In psychology, they will tell you when you're experiencing any type of anxiety to do the rule of three. That means, find three things in your environment, three colors in your environment,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
kind of brings you back to the here and now. And it's kind of a roundabout way of grounding you into your reality.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. For me personally, it's so much more than that, than being here right now in your reality. It's being in your body, in your reality. How do you
Mm-hmm.
feel when you wake up in the morning? Are you feeling good? Are you well rested? Where are your aches and pains? I know, like, once you hit 40, you have a creak or a crack somewhere. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
So identify with that. Like, really,
Mm-hmm.
you're getting ready to go to the grocery store. You're feeling pretty good. You already know you have carpal tunnel, right? You're feeling pretty good when you're going to the store. You get in the store, you're nauseous, your head hurts. You feel like you're having your heart beating weird. You didn't just feel like that. You did not just feel like that. So stop and kind of look in your environment and go, oh, that's not me. That doesn't belong to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not mine. And once you can identify with that, most assuredly, not all of it. I will not lie to you. Not all of it is going to go away. But once you recognize that, a lot of it will recede. It will
Mm-hmm.
recede simply because you acknowledged it.
Yep.
Just because you acknowledged it. And you're like, that doesn't belong to me. I acknowledge this is not mine, nor do I want it,
Mm-hmm.
nor
Right.
do I want this,
Right.
you know, but
Yeah. I feel
knowing
like
your body.
exactly. And it is, I know in development, everybody just wants, mostly everybody just wants to jump to like the fun stuff, right? Like to
Yeah,
the clear development and getting into the practice of the readings and healings and things like that. Like
sure.
it all in the woo woo, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, like when I work with clients and with students, this is why we spend so much time going through the energy centers, tying it to the physical, tying it to the emotional. It's not just because we want to drag this on, but it is the opportunity for you to become so in tune with your flow,
Hmm.
your physical, your mental, your emotional, for this reason, really, truly, this reason, so
Yeah.
you can identify what belongs to you, what doesn't belong to you, and kind of get your baseline of, like you said, in the morning when you do that self check-in, what is on my mind for my personal life? What's going on physically, mentally, emotionally?
Hmm.
Then when you go out, like the grocery store example, love going there. Uh, it
So
is
much fun.
so much fun in the grocery store. I always go to the grocery store like hungry, so that never works out really well for me because then I just buy a bunch of extra shit.
You're like, that doesn't really work
Oh,
out so well for me.
that doesn't work out for me in my pocketbook, but when you do go into places like that, your awareness is not the same as when you just walk in blindly
Hmm.
and just start taking all of this stuff in, and then you wonder why you leave and you feel just like total crap.
Hmm.
And now you're thinking about all these other things that weren't really a problem for you before,
Right.
and you're questioning your whole life path at this point, because all this other stuff's coming
Yeah.
that doesn't even belong to you in the first place.
Yeah.
you know
Absolutely.
I feel like my number one thing with that is goes in line with yours of, really, this is why we spend time really getting to know our energy, our energy centers, our plane of existence and all that stuff, because it prepares us to deal with people, with
Yeah.
everybody else. And again, I feel like you're only as impact, especially like if you're a practitioner, you're only as impactful with those that you cross paths with as you are for the work you do for yourself,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So
I feel like,
I,
oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to say
oh, no,
something?
no, go ahead. No, no, go ahead. Go ahead. You're good. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of my students have said in the past, well, why do I feel that way long after I have went to I'm using the example of the grocery.
Yeah. It's the
So
easiest example
yeah,
because at some point, we all go
yeah,
there.
exactly. So why do I feel that way hours later? Why am I
Mhm.
still feeling that way? And again, if you do not have good boundaries, if you are not grounded, if you are not shielded, if you are not in using whatever your protection method may be energetically, when you walk into any environment, you are gaining information and energy from that environment.
Mhm.
You are absorbing it. If you do not have any barriers, if you do not have any boundaries, you're like a sponge and you're sucking it up, and your body has to naturally allow that to transmute and expel. In a different environment, hopefully a healthier environment, that will replenish that for you. So
Mhm.
I wanted to add that because I know
Yeah.
people go, well, why do I feel like that hours later? And it's like,
Oh, yeah. Because
yeah,
it's
because you
I
sucked it
the
all up.
yeah I already acknowledged it. I know it's not mine. I told it
Mhm.
to leave, and
Yeah.
I still feel icky. And
Mhm.
the example that I always give with that too is, when you have an imbalance in the body, because I don't like saying sick, when you have an imbalance in the body, it's already started to filter its way through your all of, your energy,
Yeah.
you don't just immediately bounce back.
Mm-mm.
It takes a little bit of time for you to kind of find your
Yeah.
bearings again. It's the same way energetically
Yeah.
when you're taking in all this stuff. Um, you have to allow that to filter out
Yeah.
and replace, what you can do is you can do all of the stuff that we've talked about in past episodes of spiritual hygiene, um, raising your frequency, grounding yourself, doing all of those things to help move along the process.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But you still have to deal with it because it was a loud entrance,
I agree.
you
I,
know?
and I think if you are not acknowledging that energy, intrusion, disruption to your system,
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a lot of ways that it can manifest throughout that day, and depending on how much you absorbed even into your night, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, it can disrupt your dream state. It can manifest in your sleep as very vivid dreams or even a nightmare that leaves you feeling unsettled because that's how it's leaving your body.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we recharge. We are recharging our energy through sleep. That is how the physical body works.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't care if you hug stones all day long. You still have to sleep to recharge your body. That's what your aura requires, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then you think about it too. What do quite a few people do when they're getting ready to sleep? Now you're recounting your day, you're bringing that back up, you're thinking about, your life stuff and tomorrow and all of these things. And yeah, if you have not, I always say, like, spirit is more than happy
Right.
and ready and willing to work with you in the walking state, and even more so in the dream state.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you are harboring these things, it can show itself up in the dream state and not be very pleasant. Um, and I feel like versions, like nightmares, look different for everybody. What their version is of what is traumatizing, for them. So yeah, it's one way or the other. That's just going to make its way through one way or the other.
Yeah. I think it's also important to say for new practitioners that once you experience this psychic overload, that's what I'm going to call it, psychic
Mm-hmm.
insanity, psychic overload.
Overload.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are feeling overtly sensitive to noises, to light, to touch, to other sensory stimula, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't do readings. Don't do readings. Don't do it. Because although you will have a heightened intuition in that state, and you most definitely will have a heightened intuition,
Mm-hmm.
it will come across as impending um doom like quality because you are being overloaded at one time. So instead of maybe doing a psychic reading, instead of saying, oh, I feel like there's a communication error within your relationship, you may say, oh my God, this isn't going to work. You guys are so out of touch. You're going to break up. You see what I mean? It's like
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's taking it way, way farther than what it need to be because of the information overload. It's going to seem more than what it is. And there's almost a feeling of feeling disconnected from yourself, from other people, from the world around you, that isolation, that loneliness that will occur when you are in that overloaded sensory state. So make sure you're also really paying attention to that you're not doing readings in that state. Because if you cannot um energetically say, oh, I'm a part of you, you're a part of me, you're it and I'm me, that's you're not going to have a fair assessment of their energy. It's just
Mm-hmm.
not going to be. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is like that. It's that self check-in, right? When we're doing, and I feel like maybe this is just my personal opinion, but if you are walking into or holding space for anything, if you are not in a position to hold that space and remain passive or unbiased, um, maybe that's not the time for you to be doing that.
Mhm.
And I feel like, unfortunately, there are practitioners out there who still will do it. I know, I'm sure we've all experienced sitting in readings and getting information and it not resonating, or, I know you and I can tell um, immediately, oh yeah, you're talking about yourself,
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah. You're
you
like,
know,
oh, okay.
uh,
Nice internal insight.
yeah, right. Do we need to have a conversation?
Yeah, it's great.
I know we've all had that experience, but yeah, it is. I feel like that's also like leading into, again, like the quality. And for me, it's just the quality of the space that you're holding means so much, because if you're going to somebody like the example that you're using, and you're not, you don't have the boundaries, your foundation is not set, and you're a practitioner, and then you're taking on this client and you're telling everything is so doom and gloom
Mhm.
that you're getting because you're on overload, and then you're relaying this to this client, what kind of ripple effect do you think that's going to have?
Yeah.
Where is the empowerment? Where is the personal choice for that client, for that person?
Yeah.
um
Great.
yeah, that's not a good look. If that your ripple effect is not rippling.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. And I would love to tell you that, oh, you know, there's only a few people that experience it, but that would be a lie.
hmm
Every single practitioner has experienced psychic overwhelm
oh,
energy.
absolutely,
Every single
absolutely.
one. If they're telling you different, they're lying. It's almost a rite of passage to understand your energy, right?
hmm
It's something you kind of have to go through to go, okay, I have to learn how to control my energy to prevent unwanted energy. And
hmm
I'm only going to interact with energy when I choose to do so. Um, and that's really what it is. Now, I'm sure anybody who's watched me for any amount of time, I'm going to say meditate, relax, do mindfulness practices. You guys, anybody watching this, they already know that.
hmm
But we're going to have days. We're going to have days because we're having a human experience.
hmm
There's going to be a day where you're pissed off because nothing's working out the way you want it to work out. No shit, I forgot to take hamburger out and you got to go to the grocery store. Okay.
hmm
And
hmm
when you're in that state, you're not thinking about protecting. You're not thinking about your energy being invaded. You're thinking about, shit, I only have 10 minutes to run in here, grab this hamburger, get out, cook dinner before I have to do X, Y, and Z.
hmm
It's in those 10 minutes where it will happen. So,
Absolutely.
you know,
I feel like that's like part of the like rite of passage, and it's also a very humbling experience
yeah, yeah,
of how this human experience works
yeah,
and how we all interact. And I feel like too, um, for whoever needs to hear this, it's okay to reschedule your day, to
yeah.
cancel that appointment, to do, if you're not in the
Pizza.
space to read. Yeah, if you're not in the space to read, uh, And I feel like that's kind of something that, again, another layer of rite of passage, really, of understanding your energy and how you balance that with your service and your human life, your personal life. And I feel like too, so many people take on the uh, label or notion of perfected, right? So if
Mhm.
you're, I did all the things, I do the foundation, I have all of this, but you're going to go through ebbs and flows of your own life, and that's going to throw you off.
Yeah.
And there are going to be times where you are going through maybe a larger dip and you have to step away because you can't hold that space in at that time. So I don't know why I'm saying this, but whoever needs to hear it, if you're in, everybody goes through it. Everybody has that.
Yeah.
And it's not, I think too, because some people may think like, oh, you're a psychic, oh, you're a healer, so you should be perfect. You should have like all your stuff under. Hell no. There's still there's still things that
Yeah.
catch us off guard,
It is
just
still,
like I say, like
regardless, it's the human
it's
experience.
still a human
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm a huge, every reader needs a reader, every healer needs a healer. You
Yeah.
always need that outside stuff because we are our own worst critics of our own lives. So
Yeah.
of course we're going to get caught off guard by stuff. Of course we're going to be invested
Mhm.
in certain topics and things. So whoever needs to hear that, give yourself permission. You're also having a human experience. You're sensitive to energy, but you also live here.
Right. Yeah. So I thought it would be fun if I give like a list, not really a list, but a few examples of stones, crystals
Mm-hmm.
that you can carry that will assist you with protecting your energy. And I say assist you,
Yes.
okay? That
Assist.
doesn't mean, okay, I'm going to put this in bold print. It doesn't mean that it is going to do all of the work. It's going to assist you. So
Mm-hmm.
vitally important. It will assist.
Yes. Cards, stones, our team, we're
Yes.
coworkers. It's
Yes.
all our coworkers.
Ah, and that's a wonderful way to put it,
Yeah.
Krys.
We're all
Totally wonderful.
coworkers.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a beautiful way to put it. Um, Amethyst is so easily available. Number
Yes.
one, it's pretty cheap. It's readily available. You can put it on a necklace, you can put it on a ring, you can put it on some earrings, you can put a little one in your pocket. But amethyst,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a very popular choice among practitioners because it's known to be very calming. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's very,
Yes.
very
Talk
calming.
about the psychic anxiety.
Yeah. Now, it does enhance spiritual awareness, which is why I recommend this stone. Not that it is going to prevent energy, it's going to bring your awareness to when there's energy intrusion. That's why I recommend amethyst.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Not that it's going to be this badass karate chopping all the
In
incoming.
my head, they're all little ninjas.
Yeah, yeah. So it is known to be a protective stone. And I think people misconstrue that word protective. They're like, oh, it's going to stop. No, baby. It's going to bring your awareness to when energy is intruding. That's its job. That is
Mm-hmm.
its job. I highly, highly recommend energetically sensitive or newly awakened individuals to not carry clear quartz. Say it again.
Oh
Do
no.
not carry
No.
clear quartz. Okay. Why? It's a super versatile crystal. It really is. It's a beautiful crystal. Love it, love it, love it. But you know what it does? It amplifies energy. So if you are feeling all of these intruding energies and you're having anxiety and you're feeling overwhelmed, you're just amplifying it, and you're going to need a straitjacket. It amplifies energy. So it's
Mm-hmm.
great if you want to amplify your intentions, if you want to amplify your protection, cool. But once you have already gotten psychic overwhelm and you have it on that pretty little necklace I see so many folks walking around wearing, yeah, yeah, it's not gonna be good. Um, my brain just drew a blank. Oh,
Yeah.
black tourmaline. I'm sorry. I
Yes. Oh
had
no.
this mental list in my head and it just went, whoop, that's it. That's all you get, kid. Black tourmaline. Really great stone. Again, very inexpensive. You can go just about to any metaphysical shop. You're going to find little pieces of it. It's great for
Mm-hmm.
grounding and it's great to protect and assist you against negative influences. It's a great stone for shielding yourself from overwhelming psychic energies. Really, really beautiful stone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one that, again, put it on a ring, put it in earrings, put it on a necklace. And all of these stones that I'm have already mentioned, make sure you're cleansing them. Don't walk around in them all day and say, I'm never taking it off. No, put it on your windowsill, let it get some moonlight, some sunlight, put it in a bowl of selenite, let it get some clearing. Selenite is a naturally self-cleansing stone.
Mm-hmm.
I probably have 80 pounds of selenite in my house, and I'm not exaggerating. I have it in every
Same.
room, big chunks
You
everywhere.
can't you can't go anywhere without being within an inch of selenite
Yeah,
in any of my
yeah,
spaces.
yeah,
Any of my
yeah.
spaces.
I have it on my
Yeah.
stairs. I mean, I have it everywhere because it is such a wonderful cleansing stone. Um, And selenite is another one that you could also utilize. It has such a gentle energy and it is so powerful that it can cleanse your
Mm-hmm.
energy field. It will promote a sense of peace, tranquility when you use it. Um,
Yes.
Now, selenite isn't going to stop things from invading you, but it's great when you want to use it after it has been invaded.
Yes. I equate it to when I explain that to people, I equate it to think of just pure liquid light.
Yeah,
It is just pure liquid light.
yeah,
Fantastic for everything. Yeah.
yeah. So I know, I believe it was in 2022, there was this big thing with Moldavite. Everybody's going
Oh,
real high powered crystals, Moldavite,
that's
Taxite,
making its way back around.
yeah, you know,
Yeah, it's making its way back around.
Super sevens. Everybody's doing these high powered crystals. And for all the newly awakened folks, I'm not saying don't get it. Please get whatever your heart is drawn to, but be aware it is actually giving you more energy. Again, amplifying. So, is that something that you want to wear in an area that you're going to get slammed by a bunch of energies? Just use good common sense when you're
Mm-hmm.
choosing your stones before you go out in public. Are you wearing them every day? Are you cleansing them? Is it the appropriate space for wearing it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let your body guide you through that. Um, Smoky quartz is another one that is good at absorbing. So important for you to understand that. It will absorb negative energy. Hematite absorbs negative energy. That's why all those little rings break
Yeah.
because it
Mm-hmm.
absorbs it. And then it's like, I can't handle anymore. I'm breaking. That's it. I'm done. I served my purpose. And if you're walking around with it on a ring or a necklace or earrings, and it has absorbed that energy, congratulations, you're just walking around with a ball of shit hanging off of you, you know? Essentially, that's what it is. You're walking around with a balled up
Yeah.
energy that you're carrying with you. So
Hmm.
I don't recommend that stone. I don't. If you want to use it to work with it after you have been in an environment, it can absorb it,
Right, right.
cleanse it, cool beans.
Not like black tourmaline, which transmutes.
Correct.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
just remember that it's black tourmaline transmutes, but hematite and smoky quartz, all it's just
Yeah.
pulling it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you're looking at like those high powered crystals and, do your own research, Google is great. I'm sure you can
Hmm.
find a wealth of knowledge on there. Make sure you have good resources when you're getting that information, and ask yourself, if I'm wearing this high powered crystal that is going to help assist me in gaining information, do I want to do that in a space where I may experience psychic overwhelm? And if the answer to
Hmm.
that is, I know I will, then don't wear it. Just set it aside. Save that for when you want to actively do your work, you
Hmm.
know?
Yes.
Because by no means am I saying don't get it, don't experience it, because I think crystals are fantastic. But there's a time and a place for all that jazz.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I think it's, working with crystals is with various ones for their certain purposes. Again, coworkers, amazing coworkers that we all have, but especially with like the Moldavite, and I see that coming back around as a popular thing now.
Sure.
And just even look up at how disruptive that energy has become for quite a bit of people, and especially those sensitive to energy and practitioners, or just regular people who are sensitive to energy. And again, remember, amplified. So
Yeah.
it's going to bulldoze through things that you are not willing to look at or address or
Yeah.
face or whatever. And it causes disruption. And I feel like that's kind of the general theme that um, those stones have, but they're fantastic to work with.
Hmm.
They do great things, but in the right setting, in the
Exactly.
right intention, in the right setting.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's that's a great list. I like that.
Yeah.
And I think all of the ones that you mentioned are easily obtainable. I think they're cost effective,
Yeah.
easy for people to get. And I'm a huge fan of like selenite and black tourmaline all
Yeah.
everywhere,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
think I think they're a fantastic combo. I think they're really, really good. You can get a selenite wand. I'm in Michigan, so I know everybody lives in different areas, but I know here I can get a selenite wand for like $20, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Or under, depending on where you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that is a worthwhile investment for anybody in this field,
Yes.
because if you are practicing your boundaries, if you are practicing
Mm-hmm.
your shielding, if you're practicing the attempt to no longer absorb in every environment, it's a great backup. It's
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. Um, I'm great at shielding. I'm fantastic at my boundaries. But even if I go into a space that I feel like, God, I got to scrub myself from that environment. I have selenite wands in my car, in my house on different levels. And, I'll just take it and rub it through my aura. And man, it's great. It's fantastic. It's really
Oh
great,
yeah.
you know?
I challenge those who are sensitive to energy. If you have yourself a selenite wand and you've never tried it before to waft your aura with it, do it. You
Oh,
can
I love
literally
it.
feel that energy pulling away, And for practitioners, I also like labradorite and obsidian in your workspace when you're working.
Yeah.
That's great protection, aiding you in staying separate from whatever it is that you're doing, healing or reading or whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, all of that, fantastic. And even if you are, I don't know, I'm just a fan of like, even if you are super great at shielding boundaries, clearing yourself, it's still good energy to have with you. I mean, you don't even want to see what my
Oh,
desk
yeah.
looks like.
That's what I said.
you know,
I'm really
like
great at
it's
shielding and
still
boundaries.
great.
You know what? Look in my pocket, look at my jewelry, go in my car, you're still gonna find it. I don't care.
Hmm.
It's always good to have. I love the coworkers. I'm gonna so use Chris. Um,
That's how I think of it. It's like,
that's
we
so fantastic.
we have it because I think part of the problem that I've noticed with people, especially for those that don't know, I make jewelry and bracelets and things like that. And so when I do custom pieces, people a lot of times will tend to think it's going to take care of the problem for me. It's going to do that. And that's how I explain it to them. It is, they are simply co-workers in whatever your intention is, if I'm working with somebody with stones.
Hmm.
And even with when I work with sensitive energy people and are becoming practitioners, these are all things that we set in place
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, if the whole world went upside down and there's no incense, there's no stones, there's no nothing else, this is why foundation is so important.
Yeah,
Because all of this in hindsight doesn't mean anything if you're not empowered here.
yeah,
So
exactly.
coworkers,
Exactly.
they're
And
coworkers.
I mean, I know a lot of people, they wear jewelry, stoned jewelry, um,
Mm-hmm.
to complement their wardrobe, or there's, a coordination of efforts that go in with it. And I really want to reach those people that are considering that and coordinate your stones, your crystal jewelry to go with what you need in your day.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they match, if they don't match. It does not matter. I promise. It doesn't
Oh
matter.
yeah. And let me tell you, if that's something that's like hanging over your head because it doesn't coordinate with your outfit or whatever,
Mhm.
you can get tumble stones super cheap, pop them in your bra.
Oh,
Like you
sure.
just
Yeah.
put them right in your bra. I like skin to skin contact with when I'm working with stones, like on
Mhm.
on a personal level. But you can absolutely in your pocket, just throw them in your bra.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be shown outwardly,
Yeah.
but if you're working with that stone and that's what your energy needs,
Hmm.
it can be inconspicuous.
Hmm.
Nobody's going to know. Um, Unless you go to the bathroom and then you take your bra off and then it's
Unless you have them in a bag and you like save
yeah,
it. Yeah.
or you can figure out a way.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of women who are familiar with working with stones have all had that also happen, and that's okay. But there's
Yeah.
so many ways to be inconspicuous with the stones that you're working with, personally for you and your energy. Even if it doesn't match your outfit, or like with guys, with my male clients, I always tell them to, you can put them in your pocket.
Yeah.
It's there.
I put
If
it
you don't
in
want to wear the bracelets
my
or
husband's
whatever.
hat. That little
Oh
rim.
yeah, yeah, I know that's a good idea.
I will like literally put them in the rim of his hat, like certain ones, depending
Hmm.
on what's going on with him and what he needs. And Because he'll be like, yeah, I think you need to change these. That's what he'll tell me. I think you need to change these. And I'm like, okay. It's like reassessing every couple of days of what's needed, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but there's plenty of things
Oh,
I
yeah.
know it sounds for men, they're like, oh yeah, I would never. No, 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 no.
There's always a way to incorporate it into stuff. I know we talked about that before. I remember that with the in the rim of the hat. I'm gonna steal that and do
Yeah.
that too.
My husband wears a
Um,
band. It's actually his wedding band. And it is titanium mixed with tourmaline that I had made
mm,
around it. And it
nice.
has served him extremely well. Extremely well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think something else people need to just remember and keep in mind. Bigger doesn't always mean better and more powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, uh, just because you can only get like even like these, just like little tiny chipped ones or small things, does not mean that it's not going to be effective for you as opposed to having like a big gargantuan piece,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
So
I
keep
mean,
that
if
in
you want a
mind
big
too.
piece, cool, cool, but
Go for
I
it.
don't feel that you,
Welcome to the club because I
yeah.
don't have a problem.
Yeah. 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 But
It's
it's
only a
not a
problem if you admit
necessity.
it. I don't.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
promise you.
but it's still going to be effective even if you have a small piece. It's the energy of that stone that's, melding into your energy and your intention. That's what matters. So just keep that in mind. I know some people tend to think if they're just having like a little chip piece, it's not going to make a difference. Oh, it will.
It will.
It
Yeah.
will. It will make a difference. Yeah. So
Well, I love
cool.
this
I
episode.
hope,
So
yeah,
I
I think
it's helpful for everyone.
I hope this is helpful. This was super fun to talk about and obviously much needed for um, the general population or sensitive, energetic souls. So I hope you all found this helpful for you and it resonates. And thank you for sharing this time with us. We appreciate any likes, comments, and shares of this energetic exchange. And I think, yes, that's it. I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you all on the next one.